Good morning, good afternoon, all depending on where you're joining us from today. Happy Friday, bosses. Happy Friday. I love Fridays. It's the best day of the week. I hope everyone else loves Fridays. Today is the day that I kind of focus on the weekend and family and pretty much how I'm going to juggle work and family because that normally what's happening behind the scenes, right? We're wearing different hats, different things going on for the weekend. But I know most of us, because we're bosses, we've got business, we've got clients, we've got things to take care of as well, right? So we're always in the juggling match, which I love. I like to stay busy anyways. So it's right up my alley. Well, welcome to Creating Opportunities. This is where we discuss ways that you bosses can collaborate with myself. We can leverage Rocket Mortgage's brand name. We can utilize all of our loan programs and all the other things that we do here at Rocket to make sure that our clients, your clients, are the happiest clients that are out there, right? So I'm your host, Bill Haga. I'm an executive loan officer with Rocket Mortgage. I say local because I provide local pricing. So with me comes local pricing versus, much higher pricing at our general office. So some always ask, well, Bill, what's the big difference? Well, one, you get me to work with on a daily basis while we go through the process. And two, my pricing is normally about 1% to 1.25% less than the general office's pricing. So on a $500,000 purchase, that's a good $5,000 savings, right? So that's huge. Who wants to save 5,000 bucks right off the top just to work with me instead of the general office? I'll take that every day. All right. So I've got a good 23 years experience in this business. I've been with Rocket for just a couple, growing with them as things are constantly changing, new technologies coming in, just wow, just tons of things going on, right? Which is super exciting. So it's been a pretty amazing week. As most of us know, the Feds met on Wednesday, right? So we'll talk about today's agenda. The Fed meeting that took place on Wednesday, and how are you solving your clients' concerns and obstacles, right? Those are really opportunities for us to shine when we can come in there and fix some things or, get over some things. Um, Solutions to most of your opportunities. I've got a list of those as well. And I want to throw in refis just because it's another avenue. All right. Another pond that we can go fishing in. All right. Well, let's dive into it. So, like I said, the Feds met on Wednesday. Um, Powell lowered rates by a 1/4%. And then what happened? The market kind of paused as everybody was looking around, seeing what the next investor was going to do, next bank. And then as the day kind of progressed, interest rates started going up. Yeah, that's the reality of it. So interest rates started going up as Rocket kept our rates down. Okay, we actually even lowered our rates by another quarter to 3/8 just to pass on more savings to the current clients that we had that were looking to lock their loan, get their purchase agreement in, decide on their refinance, right? All these people that are at that point. So I mentioned at this point because there's much reason. If someone wants to refinance, the window of about this much time to really get in on these opportunities. Okay. So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But let's first dive into the market here. So when yeah, it was crazy, right? I had, clients calling me, friends, what's going on? Didn't they just lower rates? How are they going up? Well, because in Powell's discussion, talking about rates in the future, right? There's another Fed meeting in December, and he'd been talking all this time that there's a good chance that there's going to be another rate cut in December. However, on Wednesday, he said that based off of current data, now mind you, the government shutdown has affected this, right? Because when the government shut down, there's no one processing the data. No one's collecting the data in order to make decisions off of that data. So they kind of did that in the dark and still lowered rates. Thank goodness, because the turnout would have been way worse, because then the market would have been, even more over adjusted, and rates would have got way worse than that. So moving forward, Rocket kept our rates down, so we could pass that savings on to as many people as we could that are ready. So we locked in a bunch of loans, which was huge. Our clients saved thousands of dollars, um, by us being able to keep our rates down and letting some of those profits go. All right, so that was huge. Um, Hopefully, we see a rate cut in December. Hopefully, the government shutdown's over by then. They get some economic data that's good, and makes sense. And then that comes out of the blue. And then we get, maybe even additional opportunity there before the end of the year. Okay. So if you got anyone that's still sitting on the fence, they're still talking about rates. This is a great opportunity for you and I. Okay. And we'll get into that here in a few minutes. Um, so next thing on the list, how are you solving your clients' issues? All right, their needs. I always call these opportunities for us, but for them, it's a concern. Something's going on. I've got to do this before I can do that. All right. Most of the time, if you already have a house, those clients need to sell before they buy. Excuse me. I have that solution. Okay. Um, I only have 2% of my purchase price. I really need 4. What can I do? I've got a program for you. Okay. That can fix that as well. I have equity in my home and I need to get it because I want to purchase a second home or an investment property, right? These are a lot of things that take place in our market every single day. All right. So let's talk about these things in a little more detail. Because once again, these are opportunities for us to be able to work together and solve and get another client close that possibly you couldn't anywhere else. All right. Solutions we offer these quick buy. So if you've got a seller right now who needs to sell their home before they can buy the next home, and they're going contingent on that, that's a great client for us to look at. All right. So I might not be the first option that they have in front of them, but I'm a great second opinion. All right. We pull a soft credit report, so it won't affect anything that's going on with their first deal. All right. It doesn't affect their credit score whatsoever. Right. But it allows us to look into other opportunities for them that may be a better solution, a better fit for what they need. All right. So these quick buy programs are pretty awesome. All right. These are cash offers. All right. So let's talk about that for a second. All right. So quick buy. So there's like a few different options within this. All right. So the very first one, let's say that you haven't had an offer for days, okay, months, or you're in a financial situation that I need to sell now and buy right away. Maybe it's health. Who knows what the scenario is? But if you need to sell in a hurry, this is one of the programs that can benefit you, right? This is an opportunity. So within this program, they're going to contact you, okay? Quick buy, a third party company. They're going to contact you. They're going to discuss your home with you. And within the next 48 hours, they're going to make you a cash offer. Yeah, a cash offer that can truly close in, 15 days, right? You bosses who have already negotiated, right, your fees, your commission for helping them on the house, right? You've got it under your name, and you get the same commission that you negotiated, right? Nothing changes with you. All this is really trying to satisfy, once again, our clients' um, issue, concern, right? They have to sell before they can buy. So let's say you get a cash offer and it's, $15,000, $20,000 less than you really want, right? So they give you 150 days, all right? So you can lock that offer in, and then they give you 150 days to sell the house for more. Once again, keeping your same commission. At that point in time, you're staging the house and doing everything that you normally do, right? So there's a third option. So let's say that you've got a situation, perhaps client doesn't have very good credit. Okay, bad credit, they can't qualify to purchase. Right. However, they got a lot of equity in their property, still can't touch it, right? Because they need funds to be able to pay off debt in order to get their credit scores back up. All right, we've got a solution for that as well. All right, this one, they'll buy the house, same company, they'll make a cash offer, they'll buy the house and allow our client to lease it back at a discounted rate. There's no leases, there's nothing to sign, it's month to month, pretty simple stuff. But what that does, that puts money in their account. Now they can pay off all their bills. Maybe they just had a heart attack or something and had a health event, right? So anytime you're not working, you can't refinance. So this is a great opportunity for us to, help this particular scenario. But this is perfect. All right. So then that allows them to get the money. They can sit there and rent it. They can pay off all their debt, get their credit scores up. And in 3, 4, 6 months, whenever their credit adjusts, we do rapid rescores. So instead of waiting 45, 60 days to update a credit report, we can normally have it updated in 5 to 7 days. One of the services that we provide, that we don't talk about a whole lot. But it's one of the things that we do, right? To make sure that we get our client in there and get them closed as soon as we can. All right. So this is a great opportunity here. Um, Someone who doesn't have a down payment. Okay. We've got programs. Okay. We have our One Plus program where the client just needs 1% down. We'll cover their 2% down payment or the rest of the down payment. All right. That's paid by Rocket. All right. That's our One Plus program. 1% down and 2% gift or grant rather. So at the end of the day, and this isn't like USDA where it's designated areas, this is anywhere. This can be a first time home buyer, this can be a repeat buyer. Okay. So that's one way of getting someone in a house and just have seller credits cover the closing cost. Right. All right. Solutions. These are our opportunities to shine. Okay. Those bridge loans. So if you got a client who has equity and looking to purchase their first investment property or their first second home, or maybe it's their fifth property they're buying, whatever the case may be, right? We've got that solution too. So with a bridge loan, you're still going to get a cash offer for your house because it's just part of the program. Some people may reconsider and say, I'm just going to sell and go buy my own. But in this scenario, the bridge is going to be used to pull out equity, right, from the current address, pull money from there for the down payment proceeds for the next property. That's huge, right? You pay interest only, simple enough, and that allows you to expand now and start buying some property, right? We're always teaching people what to do with the equity. I always say reinvest it back in real estate. I always say that you want to be, mixed bag. You don't want all your um, eggs in one basket. So then you kind of branch out in other things, stocks, gold, silver, whatever is out there. All right. So bridge loans, those are pretty handy. Never had one until, recently. Another thing that's crushing it right now is our 1.0 temporary rate buy down. So this is Rocket once again doing what we can do to help every client out there. All right. So, in a sense, we're paying for a lower rate, about 1%. Well, it is 1% less than whatever rate you end up blocking your rate in at. So, for instance, I locked a 5.625% FHA in a couple days ago. Okay. 5.625. Pretty good rate. What's even better, for the first 12 months, they're going to get a payment based off of 4.625%. That's huge. So for the first 12 months, you get, a nice little discount on your payment. Get $200 or whatever it may be, just depending on your purchase price and your interest rate, right? But that's huge. Who else is out there offering 1% less than what the market is? I don't know of anybody. Who wants a rate 1% less than market? I do in every scenario. Sign me up. Let me know so I know who to call and get this for myself, right? Because that's what we're doing. Okay. So, another thing, jumbos. If you're in a market and you've got jumbo stuff around you, if you're in a jumbo market, our jumbo pricing is lower than our regular conventional pricing. That doesn't happen, right? It does not happen. They're a higher risk, higher rate, right? Not in this scenario. All right. There's a little niche that we're after. Okay. Right there in that little niche, that million, 2.5 million, that's what we're chasing. All right. We love those loans. That's why they're priced so good. Okay. So if you've got anything like that in your market, let's start marketing them. Let's look for a buyer for them. Okay. So let's talk about refis for a second, because with these interest rates going down, it's causing some refinancing. Quite a few of them actually. Our business right now, well, at least my business, is probably, still 70% purchase, maybe 75%, and anywhere from 25 to 30% refinances now. Okay. So what's this time frame do for agents? All right. This is a great time for you to get that past client list out and just reach out to them. It's all about touching points, right? I'm always trying to touch my clients, 4 or 5 times a year if possible. Some people, do that just a couple. But mind you, with CRMs, you got birthdays, you got holidays, you got important things that you can send out in an email chain. I mean, all these things that you can do, right? And so just keeping your clients top of mind of you, right? Once again, we're the bosses, we're the educators, we're the ones out here who should be leading the way when it comes to staying in contact with our past client list, right? Because they need us, they rely on us. They relied on us with their purchase. And now, if we just kind of leave them in the dark and all the wolves start calling them, you don't know who they're doing business with. I've seen some shady things the past couple months. I even heard that one client was trying to, thank God I talked to him. He stopped talking to me because he was so dead set on this, this loan that he was going into. And I'm trying to explain to him that it was a negative AM. I don't even know how them things are even out there anymore, but it was. So it gave him options. So he could have put down payment of 1%, and that's all he had in his mind. I'm getting a 1%. Well, what he didn't understand was that his mortgage balance was going up every month, that he was paying 1%. So, anyways, he finally realized what I was saying and didn't sign the documents, didn't close. And he's one that I just picked up and closing based off of rates and that whole piece that just went down um, yesterday and Wednesday. Okay, but back to the whole piece for you guys. So this is a great opportunity to contact your clients. If you've got a client that has an interest rate that's over 6% right now, they should be contacting me. Simple as that, right? And here's the reasons why. If they have equity, I'm going to say, hey, did you realize you've got this much equity? Have you considered pulling money out to buy another property, an investment property or a second home, or, anything along those lines? Because at that point in time, I'm trying to create another deal for us to work, right? Which turns into another lead for you. It just comes right back to you. So I strongly encourage you to grab your past client list, and some of you bosses, keep all your settlement statements, right? You got a little file folder, so you've got all your clients. I know 99% of you've got all your clients in your phone. I know if I go to my phone and I type in buyer, I mean, just a list of names come up. When I type in realtor, tons of real estate agents pop up, right? So utilize what you've got. If you don't already keep track of things, if you're not tracking things on an Excel spreadsheet, I highly encourage that, right? You've got to have something to fall back on. You've got to have something to be able to go back to your past clients for opportunities like this, right? So when you're talking to them, hey, I remember that when we did your loan, you were at like 7.25. Yeah, I just got done talking to Bill at Rocket Mortgage, and their rates are a lot lower than that. Maybe a great opportunity for you to, refinance and save some money. Or if you got some equity, have you considered buying an investment property before? Right? These are conversations that we want to have simply so we're always putting our clients in the best financial position that they can be. Okay. So one of the things that's kind of cool about Rocket is our system. Okay. It's super smart, makes me feel super stupid at times. And it's, kind of on the dumb side at moments, but there's moments that it peaks. And one of the moments that it peaks is identifying opportunities with our clients. All right. And this is huge. I've never had this before. And I'm coming to really appreciate it. So within our system, let's say that we close our mutual client, you know, 8 months ago, whatever time frame it is. Could be in 3 years ago. But the moment there's an opportunity for that client to save any money, I get an email. Hey, contact Richard. Hey, contact Sally. Right? The system does this for me. So at this point in time, it allows me to manage things a lot easier because before I had to go out there and search for those, right? Then do all the calculations and go, okay, well, yeah, it looks like a deal. Let me go ahead and reach out to them. I don't need to do all that anymore. Okay. So the technology that we're bringing in is really affecting my business in a way that I can do a lot more within the time frame that, the daily work schedule that we have and do a lot more work, right? I can touch more. So that's really what our technology is really focusing on is customer experience, ease, speed, and provide everything that we need, right? That's super important, especially as we're, progressing. These interest rates keep coming down. That's going to create a huge refinance boom for those people who have bought in the past, 4 or 5 years. So we'll be focusing on that as well as purchases, right? Because at that point in time, rates are down. Should also be a little purchase boom. We see it in the statistics every month. Anytime the rate ticks down, you'll see mortgage applications increase. If the rate goes up, you'll see that they decrease. I mean, they have a direct correlation with one another, right? So it's all about lead generating. It's all about, staying top of mind with our clients. All the things that us bosses do, right? It's funny because if I met a loan officer that only had a couple years in the business, and they were talking about, whew, well, I have so much going on, but they only mentioned like 3 or 4 plates that we're spending. When you're a boss, right? We're spending multiple. I mean, we're talking, 7 to 10 plates at times, all at the same time, and still communicating with all of our clients, past, current, ones that are sitting on the fence, don't quite ready to fill out that loan application yet. Oh, don't pull my credit. I don't want the hit. We pull a soft credit report. Stop that. We make it easy for you to do business with us, right? My phone's always on, like this weekend. If you want to collaborate, you can schedule a one-on-one meeting. We can analyze your business. We can talk about Rocket. We can talk about your business. We can figure out how all that kind of collaborates and joins together. So we're always putting you top of mind because the more you do, the more that we're doing. All right. So my focus originally is nothing but your business. And then after that is hey, I need to make sure that I'm servicing that business 100%. And one of the things that I don't think I've mentioned yet, but due to the volume that my team, myself, my team, all of us have been doing, we just got loan officer assistant. So getting an assistant, we call him a file coordinator. He's going to be helping a ton with our files and making things move faster, allowing us to touch more um, on the front end of things. And that just, I mean, I love that. I love that part. It allows me to do what I want to do and what I enjoy about that business or this business. And that's, truly the relationships that we build as we do business together and become friends. Like I mentioned before, I do a lot of real estate agent, their personal loans when they're buying properties. Um, so I've got a lot of really really good friendships that have been based off of just being in this business. So I'm grateful for that. I love that, and one of the things that I love about the business. Right. All right. So like I mentioned, if you want to set up a one-on-one, there's going to be a link. I will have my phone and laptop on all weekend. So if you need anyone pre-approved, mind you, we moved our underwriting up front of the process instead of the back. So your clients truly get underwritten by a underwriter and an approval with a verified approval letter comes out versus, the typical pre-approval provided by myself and every loan officer out there. All right. Oh, see, we may have, yep, there's the links. Awesome. So once again, let's get them pre-approved. Good luck this weekend, and let's get them under contract. That's all I've got, guys. Take care. Bye bye, everyone.